You're stuck in traffic. Someone cuts you off. Your chest tightens instantly. Heat rises up your neck. Your hands grip the wheel so hard your knuckles go white. A coworker takes credit for your idea in the meeting. Your stomach drops. Your jaw locks. You feel the rage bubbling before you even open your mouth. Your partner says one dismissive word, and suddenly the whole room feels too small. Your heart pounds. You're not just annoyed, you're ready to explode. You've tried everything, counting to 10, deep breathing apps, walking away, and it still doesn't work. Because here's the truth nobody tells you. Anger isn't a reaction problem, it's a power problem. 2,000 years ago, a man was betrayed by his closest friend, publicly humiliated, spat on, whipped until his skin hung in strips, and nailed to a cross. His friends ran, his enemies laughed in his face, and he never once lost control. This wasn't superhuman patience. This was a deliberate psychological system anyone can use. Tonight, you're going to learn exactly how Jesus mastered anger and why everything you've been taught about managing it is dead wrong. Stop for a second. Feel that heat in your chest when someone disrespects you. That's not just adrenaline. Studies from the American Psychological Association show the same brain regions light up for physical pain and social rejection. Your body literally treats disrespect like a threat to survival. That's why anger feels so urgent. It's your brain's alarm system screaming, "Protect yourself now." But here's what most therapists and apps get wrong. They teach you to control the alarm, breathe, distract, suppress. They never teach you to understand what the alarm is actually guarding. Psychologists call this the anger iceberg. 10% is visible, shouting, sarcasm, clenched fists. 90% is hidden, fear of losing respect, fear of being powerless, fear of abandonment. 2,000 years before fMRI scans proved this, Jesus demonstrated it perfectly, not in theory, but under the worst pressure imaginable. Picture the scene in the garden at night, torches flickering, armed soldiers crashing through the trees. Peter panics, swings a sword, slices off a soldier's ear. Blood everywhere. Chaos. Everyone expects retaliation. Jesus doesn't shout, doesn't flinch. He touches the man's ear and heals it on the spot, then calmly tells Peter, "Those who live by the sword die by the sword." In the moment that would break anyone else, he stayed completely in control, not by suppressing anger, but by mastering the system behind it. And that system has four principles. Master them, and no one will ever hijack your emotions again. Principle 1. Anger is a voluntary transfer of power. Every time you explode, you hand the other person the remote control to your emotional state. They pressed a button, you performed. Jesus refused to do that. When the religious leaders tried to trap him with loaded questions, he didn't defend or attack. When Pilate's soldiers mocked him, stripped him, beat him, he stayed silent. This wasn't weakness. This was absolute ownership. Research from the University of California shows that people who react with anger are perceived as less competent and less in control. The calm person, even when wronged, is seen as the strongest in the room. So here's your new habit. The next time anger rises, pause and ask yourself one question. Am I about to give this person power over me they haven't earned? That single question is a circuit breaker. Once you see anger as a transfer of power, You stop leaking it to people who don't deserve it. But most people never get past this point because they haven't settled the deeper issue. Principle 2. Your identity must be locked in before the attack arrives. If someone calls you a terrible dancer and you've never danced, you laugh it off. The insult has no anchor. But if they attack something you secretly doubt, your intelligence, your worth as a parent, your masculinity or femininity, you're triggered instantly. Why? Because part of you is still looking for proof that you're enough. Jesus faced the ultimate identity attack in the wilderness. Satan didn't attack his actions first, he attacked his core. If you are the Son of God. 3 times. The trap was brilliant. Make him prove his identity through performance. He refused. His identity wasn't up for debate. He didn't need external validation. Studies on self-concept clarity show that people with a stable internal identity experience 40% less emotional reactivity to criticism. So ask yourself right now, where is your identity still on trial? Where do you still need others to confirm you're good enough? Close that trial. Decide who you are independent of anyone's opinion. Once that's settled, insults become background noise from an unreliable source. And when identity is secure, you can finally see what anger is really protecting. Principle 3. Anger always guards a deeper wound. A man loses it when his girlfriend is 5 minutes late. On the surface, impatience. Underneath, terror of abandonment from childhood. A woman snaps at a coworker's small critique. On the surface, defensiveness. Underneath, shame from a parent who never thought she was enough. The same trigger, different reaction, because the wound is different. Jesus taught this in the Sermon on the Mount when he equated anger with murder in the heart. He wasn't being dramatic, he was pointing to the root. Modern therapy calls this misattributed anger. You attack the surface trigger because the real wound feels too dangerous to touch. Next time you feel the heat rising, don't just pause. Ask, what am I really afraid of losing right now? Respect, control, or connection? Name it. The moment you name the wound, anger loses its job. You can address the real issue instead of torching the room. But there's one final principle that turns understanding into unbreakable strength. Principle 4. Your response is your legacy. Jesus had the power to end it all. One word, 12 legions of angels, over 72,000 warriors, ready to obliterate his enemies. He said it himself. He chose not to use it. Not because he was powerless, but because his mission was bigger than revenge. Destroying them would have felt good for a second, but it would have destroyed the example he came to leave. Every time you choose calm over reaction, you're not just saving yourself from regret, you're building who you become. Your kids are watching, your team is watching, your future self is watching. A 20-year longitudinal study from Harvard found that the single biggest predictor of life satisfaction is emotional regulation under pressure. The person who can answer softly when everyone expects fire, that person owns the room. Not through volume, but through unbreakable internal authority. The goal isn't to never feel anger. Jesus felt it. He flipped tables when sacred space was exploited. But his anger was chosen, surgical, aligned with purpose. That's the difference between being controlled by anger and wielding it. You came here feeling hijacked by your own emotions. Someone says one wrong thing and your peace is gone for hours. You're leaving with a system that changes everything. 1. Stop transferring power to people who haven't earned it. 2. Lock in your identity before the attack comes. 3. Name the wound anger is guarding. 4.